To wrap up this lesson, we are looking at some common errors on our Excel. In one of our lessons, we ran into an error which we were able to rectify. But in case you are seeing these errors in your day-to-day activities, you need to understand what they mean and how you can rectify them. If you see division error, it means that you are dividing a value by zero. It means you are dividing a value by zero. A common example of that is if you are dividing 10 by zero, it will give you division error. To avoid that, you can introduce your if statement. You can introduce your if statement so that if there is zero, it can bring your value, your value if true. And then if not, it can go ahead to make your calculation. Also, we have NA function, not font function. This function always occur when we are using our lookup functions, whether your VLOOKUP or your HLOOKUP, which is one of the tools or operations that you should learn about in your journey as you advance in your usage of Excel. Lookup functions helps you to look up your array of values or table to look up for whatever you are looking for. So this function helps us to make quick search. Just like on your phone, you can make some quick search. Lookup function also help you to make some quick search on your data table, especially when you are dealing with voluminous data. So if the table, if the value is not seen on while you are using your VLOOKUP, it will return your NA function. And most times we attack that using our if NA function. Once you introduce if NA function, then you can play safe. Also, we have our value or error. That is when you have wrong data type in mathematics. Wrong data type in mathematics. This was the error we had when we are trying to trim our value the other time doing our organizing data. When we are looking at our trim, our left and our mid and every other and all those cleaning function. So using those functions can give you error value. To address that, you can use your if error to counter that. Then your name error also, this is when you misspell a function or you miss a quotation. When you misspell a function, for example, instead of your sum, you wrote double M. So the best way is to fix the spelling. That's the best way to fix the spelling. For your ref error, that's your referencing error. It means that your referencing point has been deleted. A cell has been deleted. If you are multiplying across cells and one of the cells has been deleted, whether mistakenly or deliberately, at that point, the other value of variable for the multiplication or for the operations to be performed will no longer be found. Therefore, it will give you a reference error. The only way to do that, to correct that, is to rebuild your formula using the valid cell. You have to rebuild your formula all over again using a valid cell. Another error is your number error. This is when your numeric operation is invalid. This is when your numeric operation is invalid. For example, you are looking for the square root of minus 1. If you are looking for the square root of minus 1, since we can't get the square root of a negative, it will therefore return error in our number. The only way we can solve this is if we also introduce our if statement to correct it. And our non-error, our non-error, our non-error. This is typically caused by incorrect range intersection. It is typically caused by incorrect range intersection. And then for this, in case you are using space incorrectly, you are using your space incorrectly, you ought to have a comma at a point, you don't have it. You ought to have any of your separator at any point, but you don't have it. That is when you can have this your non-error. And to correct that, also you have to look at your formula again to look at where the error is. So these are the common error that you have on your Excel, and these are things you should note. That once you have error on your Excel, it does not mean that you are possibly missing everything out. It might just mean that you need to retrace your step to look for where you got it wrong. And with just a few clicks, you will be able to correct your error. With this, we have come to the end of our Basic of Excel class. Thank you.